Hello, I'm Lucas. This is Strike the Sun, MD, and I'm on the floor to talk about some books I got before the Chinese New Year holiday started and before the threat of the coronavirus from Wuhan entered into my frame of thought. I don't know. It's been very stressful. I've been in this room for like 9 days. I'm going a little crazy here. Anyway, I'm gonna talk about some books I bought before all this happened. Of course, you saw it in my last video, my wrap-up video, Driers English, An Utterly Correct Guide to Clarity and Style by Benjamin Dreyer, the copy chief of Random House. It's a wonderful book, and I will make a review video about it, hopefully with clarity of thought and not utter paranoia. I really love this book. I'm about halfway done, and it's great. It's very difficult for me to read right now. I can barely focus. I'd be done with it by now, but it's not as bad in Shanghai, but I have other issues that are dramatically affected by this health scare, relating to the legality of my stay here. I am having visa issues, and I will have financial issues because of this as well. And my financial issues will get worse if my visa issues do not go smoothly. So I'm just a bundle of anxiety. But I don't have anything to do for all of February unless I have to leave the country. Then I would come back if I can come back, but should I come back? Anyway, I've got a bunch of Penguin classics. This one is the Book of Chuang Tzu. Last year I bought the Penguin classic of Mencius, who is this sort of student of Confucius, who I also read last year, but in a Norton Critical Edition. And those were fantastic books to help me better understand the character of the country in a way. There are still some principles of those two writers from however long ago that you can see remnants of in the culture of China to this day. And I thought I would continue reading more Chinese literature like this, and yeah, I hope I'm not too quiet. This is the first time I'm making a video, or the second time I suppose, where my girlfriend is in the room, and that makes me very shy. Anyway, walk with virtue and travel with the Tao, and you will reach the perfect end. This is a founder of Taoism. He lived in the 4th century, and he was a philosopher for China. He was firmly opposed to Confucian values, which is great, of order, control, and hierarchy, believing the perfect state to be one where primal innate nature rules. So I'm well familiarized with Confucian thought from reading a translation with fantastic notes. of Confucius from the Norton Critical Edition and reading the sort of continuation of his ideas with Mencius, which was another great book. There are some horrifying things in those texts that I can still see, but that's, it's great to learn what shapes this country that I live in. But now I'm getting someone who is utterly opposed, and that's cool. It's what he perceives the Tao, the way of nature, and this will explain a lot of that, and I'm looking forward to it. I'll talk about it when the time comes. That'll be fun. I've got more, of course. Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching. I think this is another Tao book. I have little thought of self and as few desires as possible. And this author, we're not sure if he actually existed, I suppose. He was also 4th century BC, or was this guy? Yeah, 4th century BC. This guy, they must have been collaborating or on opposite ends of the century or different parts of China, and had similar beliefs and worked off of each other in some way. I don't know. One of the 3 great religions of China, Taoism, based on the Tao or the way, from which all life flows. This is more about the Tao, so it's going to be opposed to the natural order of Confucian thought, I suppose. And that'll be interesting to read. It's got another beautiful cover, and I'm excited for that as well. I'm not really into philosophy, but it will be fun to read that still. And one more, the Book of Master Lao Tzu, where there is universality. Those living in large states don't attack small states. Those living in large houses don't bring disorder to small houses. The strong don't oppress the weak. How nice. Written in the 5th century BCE, so the century before the other 2. More philosophical writing intended to deal with the turbulence of the Warring States period. Oh, I don't know a whole lot about that, but it wasn't good. Obviously, Warring States. And he encouraged universal love and condemned excess at funerals. His essays on how to maintain peace and harmony. As an expert in defensive warfare, Lao Tzu also wrote fascinating technical tips for defending a city, including methods for the identification of spies and how to stockpile food. As one of the first examples of systematic argument and conceptual debate, the Book of Master Mo represents a groundbreaking shift in Chinese philosophy. And, of course, with those 3 books and The Art of War, I will have a lot of Chinese philosophy, and those 2 being sort of generals. I guess he's a defensive general. I don't really know what Lao Tzu, is that his name, was exactly. I think he was a general. We'll have a lot of Chinese philosophy to read. I do have another book I bought a long time ago that I'll show in another video, because again, I have nothing to do, and I guess I'll show my library tour. Might as well. It'll be very small, but some other books that I bought recently. O. Henry, Selected Stories, the famous late 19th or early 20th century author, I'm not sure. I guess he's famous for plot twists. I read a book of short stories collected for the O. Henry Prize or something 2 years ago, and I enjoyed it. It's in celebration of this guy. 80 stories, oh my gosh, 80, that display O. Henry's comic eye and unique ironic approach to life's realities. Yeah, I don't know anything about this guy except I guess he's a really talented writer that does plot twists. Looking forward to that. And then I got this, even though I think it's kind of ugly. The photo, not so much, but you'll see what I mean. It is another Penguin classic, Eleanor Roosevelt, Tomorrow is Now, with a foreword by William Jefferson Clinton and an introduction by Alida Black. I really can't stand this blue text. The blue color is pretty, but it just looks bad, I think. It is today that we must create the world of the future. And this is Eleanor Roosevelt's most important book, A Battle Cry for Civil Rights, released in 1962. It's a manifesto and her last effort to move America. I don't know a lot about her, but I think she's the first lady to actually do something for the American people, and to make that some kind of a tradition, I suppose, for the First Lady to also be doing things much like her husband does as he leads the country. The First Lady leads in another way. So yeah, I'm interested in her. I've heard a lot of things about her. I don't know much, I will be honest. I don't know anything about any of these except Benjamin Driers' book, which is fantastic. I do actually know some about the Tao. I've read I Ching. I think that's a Taoist book. I have tried to read Tao Te Ching in a different translation, but it wasn't for me. But I'm gonna try it again. At that time, I lived in America. But we have Eleanor Roosevelt's Tomorrow is Now. We have the O. Henry collected stories. We have the Lao Tzu, the Book of Master Mo. We have Lao Tzu's Tao Te Ching. We have the Book of Sun Tzu. And Driers English. These are books I bought before this coronavirus issue. And that's it. Thank you. I will come with a video tomorrow about Sherwood Anderson's Death in the Woods, which was brought to my attention by the channel Bookish, who recently did a shout out for me, and I thank you so much for that. I'm looking forward to that. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you. Bye.